goes to being able to sit with yourself and stop looking for what is convenient and what is simple. Every single person that hires you, that is paying you, was once you who had nothing to think about. For me, I have built quite a few businesses that I started, and I never left all of them. Because, for instance, the best way I can answer this question, is after having all these degrees, because I was told that all I needed to do is go get a good education. Oh my God, because I tell people whenever I hear, oh my God, it means somebody dropped the ball. This is the time for you to actually do that. So let's go on to the next one. So be willing, and the time that we experience right now is where so many trends are coming up. And I'm telling you, as we speak, when this is all said and done, a lot of people, there are two kinds of people that will emerge. Those that are going to hit the ground running and be so excited with what they did during this period. And those who are going to say, oh my God, where do I go from here? The same opportunity, the same circumstance. And don't worry about those you think that are better than you, and you think that, to be honest with you, sometimes it's not what is happening to us, is what we're allowing to happen to our mind and how we perceive it. And that's not to dismiss or minimize what you go through. But if you give, whatever you give power is what is going to take hold over your life. So number 3, never give up and be committed. I love the word indefatigable. Indefatigable is when you embark on a journey, no matter the deterrent, whether it's raining, whether it's shining, whether you're failing, whether you're succeeding, people are laughing at you, life is, nobody likes you, nobody is buying what you produce, it's not going to touch you. That no matter how even people call you names, they give, not everything you can imagine happens to you. You would not back down. You're like, okay, people slap you, you turn the other cheek, you keep going. You are laser focused and determined to get to the finish line. So every time I hear people say, oh, I started something years ago, but I didn't think it was gonna work and I gave it up, and then, I don't know, I know you guys are not too young to hear conversations from your friends. And if you don't have friends who are talking constructively, you need to move away from them and go find people who are talking the talk you want to have to help you elevate to the next phase of your life. But guess what? When you give up, what else is there? So when you are indefatigably determined, means that you will remain consistent, resilient. Just say resilience is my name. That means even when everybody says it can't be done, you say, you try me, I'm gonna do it. That means if you thought it was gonna take you 4 years to succeed, and before you know 10 years has gone by, you still didn't give up. That's an indefatigable attitude. And guess what happens? And this is the good news, and I'm telling you from a personal experience, the good news is those years that you were sowing the seeds of faith, working your very best, doing everything that you can, that at that moment looked like nothing was happening for you on your behalf. I can guarantee you from my personal testament that when the time comes, everything, the universe will conspire in your favor. And I'm experiencing that right now. Even things you didn't expect, they will just show. You just get up, say, I'm expecting something great to happen to me today, and voila, something great will happen to you. It wasn't because that you prayed that day it came. It's the years and months of praying and pursuing and pushing when nobody was there for you. At night you cried, nobody to cheer you up. You called a friend that said they were going to be there for you, but because you have a challenge, they run away from you. But people who have entrepreneurial mindset, none of that can stop them. They are indefatigably determined. They hold it as their anchor. No matter what happens, you hold on, because that too will pass. And I'm telling you, I wasn't born with a silver spoon. My father and mother didn't have, but I believed in myself and I worked on. So that's why I have the audacity to tell each and every one of you that nothing is impossible if you put your mind. I'm willing to do the work. And remember, I'd rather have you be miserably, uncomfortable in order to get to where you're going, instead of being miserably comfortable for the rest of your life. You know an example of being miserably comfortable? When you get a job that you hate, it's not paying you enough to even go anywhere, and guess what happens? Somewhere along the line, you realize the people that are going through unemployment right now and stuff, they've been comfortable for a long time, but it took just one shaking of that pole for everything to go down. Those are not the mindsets. And remember, I'm not telling you that everybody must be an employee, but what if employer, whatever, or employee. What if you have it in you? I'm trying to make sure I know which one I'm referring to. So what if you have it in you to be the one that creates? What about you collaborating with somebody who already has done something so you can add more value, so value will be added onto you? I can guarantee you that the number of people today who are struggling to some degree, if somebody gave them a chance, maybe half could have contributed to the creation of jobs, that we wouldn't have as many people today looking for jobs. But it's not their fault because nobody taught them. Or maybe nobody shared the way to do it and being able to. So I hope I'm getting across to you guys. By the time you get through this 9, and I'm telling you, you never give up. My name is Never Give Up. I don't quit. People know me as that. When people see what is going on, they say, oh, Dr. Dureke, we knew you never give up, you know? So why do you even pride yourself in giving up? Do you get a prize? Don't give up, because that's what the devil wanted for you. You cannot give up. Because when you give up, you lose purpose. You lose everything you believe in. For me, there is power in holding on. So one word I want you guys to take with you is the word indefatigable. And your assignment is for you to take a look at it. And no matter what life throws at you, apart from those who are part of WETATi say that I'm a WETATian. Another word for indefatigable is to be a WETATian, and you're determined. So let's keep going. Make that your anchor. And you will see whether as a student, whether the teacher is difficult, the subject is difficult, the only people that make it in life are those who refuse to quit. Quitters are losers. You've heard it, but I'm telling you, for somebody who built my life from nothing, except the sheer power and willingness to work hard. And each and every one of you have what it takes. And you're here in America with all the ills and all the drama and all this going on. America is still the greatest place in the world. If you're willing to apply yourself, there's nothing impossible for you to achieve. You have to be willing to go through the process. And do not be in a hurry. It's called hurry up and wait, and then there's nothing there. Just believe in yourself. Connect, build the right relationship. Give like there's no other opportunity to. Give of yourself. You'll be amazed. Move on to the next one, Nana.
I was going to ask if you have any personal experience you can share where determination was what got you through it.
Oh, geez, that's a question that's going to be another session in itself. Oh, my God. Oh my God, I don't know where to begin. It's a lot. It's a whole lot. Where do I begin?
I'll let you think about it. We can go to the next one, and then I can actually.
Yeah, let's go. There's so much. I can say everything about my life.
All right, number 4.
It's everything about my life. But the beauty of it, I see people always ask me, where does your power come from? My power comes from the fact that I believe in God, who's giving me the authority to be who I am. I had to get over not caring what people think of me, but my power then comes from knowing who I am and not allowing what other people's perception affect my belief of myself. So the more I'm able to overcome, the more powerful I become, the more faithful, the stronger, the more guts I get. Just like faith is graduating. So if you allow yourself to go through life, pick yourself up each time you fall and not call yourself all those hard names. And one of the things we can do when this is over, some of you keep a track of who's here. If they don't already have my book, How to Succeed, I'm going to gift it to some of them. That book has changed a lot of people's lives. So it is a graduating thing for me. It's online on Amazon, but I don't want you guys to buy it. I'll give it to you if you don't already have it. And if you already have it, you're not reading it, you're doing me a disservice. You got to read that book because it changed life. So mine is a series of, even starting with WETATi, for example, I'm using WETATi, most of them now about WETATi. Some people ask me already, what makes you believe? You have no, if I tell you about the insults I've gotten in my life, but guess what? Don't worry about the insults. Remember the compliment you receive, because when the compliment comes, they will override that. So that's how I get my power. But the way you're going to be a loser is if you allow them, or whoever the them are, or the circumstances, to be right. So your goal in life is to prove them wrong. And I love a good fight. Not with anybody, but myself, to tell myself, you can do this. And I move forward. As I'm pushing, I'm praying, I'm reaching. I go where I have no business going. Talk to people I have no business talking to. I'm not afraid of people. I respect people. So it's every aspect of my life has been a fight, and I love it.
Awesome. Okay. Number 4.
Remove yourself from the communities of cants. This is a big one. Ooh. I don't know your history, but I can guarantee you that you are who you hang around. I can, talk about you now in this regard. The other day, when you called me, Sema, your movie that just made that just got accepted at the Martin's Vineyard, one of the movies you produced, Bright Price. And so when you called me, Sema, I'm trying to do Margaret Dureke. You remember that conversation? And you said, how I leverage the different relationships when we do stuff, right? And then you said, oh, I'm going to put on my, like Julie Dash and all those people who endorse your video, your movies and stuff like that, right? I don't know if you know the power of that. You know why? Because you've been working with me, you have seen how I operate and how those abilities and the way I do things yield results. You get it? So that impacted you without us having a conversation about it. Because you hung around me and still hang around me. So the way I operate, the way I deal with people, the way I conduct my life and business, you have seen the fruit of it. And that's why mentoring is important. Sometimes you don't need to tell somebody you're mentoring them. Just be what you are about and they will get it. I don't think you even knew what I took away from it. But this right here actually answers, I just thought it would be a great way to use an example that if you are with people who says always, oh, that can be done. You know why people prefer negative? Because it doesn't require effort. It does not require effort to be negative. What do confused people do? Nothing. And then they're angry, and you ask them what they're angry about, they're deflected. But it's because they're not living their best life, because they don't want to take the challenge. And they hang around those who say it can be done. Just remember that the can'ts cannot be where the cans are. Right? So what you've done, and when you shared that with me, I just smiled in my spirit. I said, oh, wow, this is really big. And when I saw the trailer, I make sure you share that with the students in case some of them don't know about your work. When you shared the trailer of that movie, the one that Howard is putting together now, and I saw what you did, which you didn't do before in your other movies, that there is because you now have come close to me. You have seen how my leveraging my relationships has helped me on not just the WETATi, my other businesses and the thing that I do. But I didn't need to say, oh, no, so, the thing that the way I do this, you need to do this, you need to do that, except if you ask me. But you were sharing with me with pride. Mommy, this is what I did. I said, yeah, no, there you go. That's it. And when I saw it, it made it different. If I saw that trailer with those people's name that giving you the authority, I'm like, well, she got it. This one got it. Does that make sense? So that's exactly the way this whole thing should work. So be sure that you're rubbing elbows and shoulders with people who are going to challenge you. And to be honest with you, it can be challenging because I push you guys more than you would like to be pushed. But the point is that in the next 5 years or so, you and your sisters, I know you guys already see that, can see how your mindset and the way of being and doing will differentiate you from your generation. And I'm glad, I don't know why I didn't think about it, but for some reason, this is coming to me. The same thing, like when I was telling Chichi, I said, oh, wow, look at how the thing you designed. I told her this, I said, oh my God, look at how far. She said, oh, mommy, that's really great, coming from you. But it is and also people tell you that when you do good, you tell those people what they're doing is good so they can believe. But the society we live in and in the world, we all only want to tell people something wrong with them. Then they don't have the guts to believe that they can. So they start looking for the same birds flock together, which could be all the gloom and doom, but you're not growing. So make sure you remove yourself from the community of can'ts. As easy as it may sound, it was one of the hardest things that I had to do. As a foreigner, I wasn't born in America. I came here right out of high school, trying to figure out, my mom and dad weren't even here. You guys are blessed beyond belief. That's why you all need to just thank God every day if you have that. But I had to try to figure out, where do I go from here? But my mindset is always like, I can change my life. Even when everything is falling out from under, I'm like, I got this, That's a mindset that nothing should take from you. I don't care what is going on. And because when you're going through it, it looks like it will never come to pass. But I'm here to tell you that if you continue to talk to yourself solidly, even with no means in sight, I talked about that in the book. I think it's one of the books, that you are the asset and not the money. If you know that you are the asset and not the money, that's why I'm able to build businesses without money. Because some people say, well, I can't go into business because I don't have money. And by the way, next week, we're going to have a phenomenal woman who has built her own wealth. And her program that next week is going to be how to start a business and make money. Don't live with nothing, some degree. So if you hang around people who say things can be done, and that's somebody I respect so highly, because being around her has also changed me. As you see me, I am a work in progress. I've never arrived. So I'm always looking for people who will stretch me without putting me down, because I can correct you and pull you up without making you feel inferior. There's a distinction. And find people who will do that for you and don't be comfortable. So if you find that you are around people who always say, well, I don't know how I'm going to pay my next bill. Well, I don't know, everything is negative. They can't do this, they can't do that. Why do you want to be in such a room? An entrepreneurial mindset or person who has a differentiating mindset can never, whenever, my kids will tell you, whenever I am on the phone with somebody after how are you, if they're not talking about how they're going to change lives or do something, I get off. People, I don't know if I'm weird like that, but I own it, and I'm not making excuses for it, because the minute you own your life the way you want it, you should be okay with it. You don't have to be like everyone else, but be confident that you are who you are, you're who you're supposed to be. So I don't do things because others are doing it, but I get inspiration if what they're doing is good. And I say to myself, oh, wow, this is, if they can do that, I can do that. Right? But not from a competition perspective, is to strengthen my own belief that I can. So I listen to people who have gone before me. There's a program where I was telling you about those who have achieved impossible. I forgot what they call it in one of the shows. Like I watch Shark Tank. The Shark Tank, why I watch it is where businesses go to pitch the idea. So if you want to be an entrepreneur, you're watching Shannon, I don't know, whatever you watch that is not adding value to your mindset, how is that going to be? Over time, you will even forget you thought you wanted to be an entrepreneur. But the shows you watch, the friends you have, the conversations you have, the kind of parties you go to, what you drink, who you drink with, all those things, don't dismiss them and say, this has no relationship. It does have relationship. So be mindful of those. And I'm not saying that you will never have challenges. What I'm trying to do is to let you know about the levels of life, relationships and stuff. As long as we are in this world, there will always be negative, there will be positive. Your job is to make sure you always find a way to keep the positive above the negative. Once the negative happens, flip it and come right back up, as long as you still have a breath in you. And that's one of them. So keep going, and we may come back. Maybe when we get to it, maybe do that during the question and answer if they have questions.
Okay. Yeah, actually, someone, IK asked a question similar to that, how to even start.
Okay, cool. All right. So let's get through it, then we can ask questions. That we can answer that.
Everyone, please feel free to drop your questions in the chat section. All right, awesome. And once we get after question number 5, we'll get into the Q&A.
Yeah, and then what I wanted to say too, because I know your generation, some of you on there, sometimes you may have an idea, you want to do something, and your parents' experience may be different from yours. So you can have that dichotomy of, they don't want me to do this, but I want to do this. You have to find a balance, because see, wealth or entrepreneurship is not a physical thing, it's a mind thing. Every single thing I built, I first conceived it in my mind, and I keep it marinating. Sometimes it could be a year before I say it to anybody. I could be working on it behind the scene where nobody knows that I'm doing it, right? For the fear of somebody saying, oh, what are you doing about that way? Not that they're gonna talk me out of it, but you don't need to go back to your parents as long as you're doing what they ask you to do out of respect, because I believe that a child should respect their parents. Even when they say something you don't agree, you can say, okay, mom and dad, I see you care for me, this is it, but this is heavy in my heart, but it's okay. You can, on your own time, find ways. It could be an hour a day, 2 hours a weekend or something. So you're not making an excuse. You continue to build it. I've seen situations where parents told their kids don't do this and that, and the kid goes somewhere and is able to build it. And guess who comes, saying, oh, that's my daughter, that's my son. The same parent that told them don't do it. So it's out of fear. They don't think you're gonna make money. Right? And that's why they're telling you not to go there, but they don't know your gift. So you don't have to find them. Find a way to hold on to your dream and continue to walk the path they're trying to direct you if you can help it. Does that make sense? And this thing right now with this COVID-19, I hear some nurses saying, oh, when I got into it, I didn't know this will happen. I told her to stop, because that means you didn't go into it for the right reason. You went into it because of money. right? So these are the things you guys need to think about, because if it is near and dear to your heart, there are nurses who were born to do this. They're running to the fire. They're like, I'm retired. I watched a lady on CNN the other day. She was like, I'm retired, but I can't sit and let this happen. Those are the people who were called to do it. But if you're going to do something or become an entrepreneur because you just want to go make money, when you are challenged, when the difficult time comes, you're going to quit. But if you want to make a difference as a differentiator that you are, then you're going to find something that may take years to come to fruition, and you continue to tweak it and continue to work on it somewhere along the line. So for me, I think that money should be made by default if you're an entrepreneur, because if you want to do quid pro quo right away, after a while, you're going to fall off the bandwagon. You're not going to be able to deal with it because you get frustrated. One of the reasons why I never quit is because it's something that I'm passionate about, and no matter the challenges that I go through, it never occurs to me that I quit. I mean, I may say it, I'm just saying it for somebody who's around me and make it seem like I'm going to quit. I'm not quitting. The only thing I don't even know what I'm going to do when I die, but if there's another place there, you can see me really doing the same thing that I'm doing now, basically. So doing afraid is the next thing. The reason why I wanted to say this is because I've been around, I coach quite a few persons and businesses and people in politics. So fear is a natural thing for all of us, including me. There is no one without fear. So let's put that out there. As much as I'm running my mouth here, but guess what? I don't dwell on it. For me now, fear is like a passage. I don't know. In other words, you know how when you're going to a store, you already know the same road you go through each time to get there. So you're not even thinking about that there's a bump there, because every time you get to that road, you just go through that bump. So it doesn't seem like nothing anymore to you. That's what fear is like to me now. So fear doesn't start, I just know it's there. But if I stay fearful, I will never achieve my goal in life. I can never, because I've watched what happens in the lives of people who stay fearful. And I'm not saying that you should be reckless. There's a difference between the two, and there is a fine line. But my thing is that I would rather do and fail than wonder what could have happened. At the end of my life, I don't want to say, oh God, what did I, if I could, I should have. I can't do it. Some people can do it and live with themselves. I don't know how to do that. And it's for you to determine who you are. But I'm not going to settle to say, okay, this is a negative part of life. It's just a little bit here, and then is a coping mechanism. There's no way. And I'll tell you this: when I did entrepreneurial program at Boo State University a couple years ago, and then right off the back, I asked the students, how many of you? This was a medical student, some people who want to go to medical school. I asked them, how many of you here would like to own your businesses? A good number of them did. There was this lady, this girl, she was tweaking her eyes, whatever, and she didn't raise her hand. I just asked her, I said, can you tell me the reason why you wouldn't like to own your own business? Do you know what she said? She said, because it's a lot of work. It's too much work. I just want to get a job. I want to go to medical school. I just cracked up because I'd be cracking up everywhere I go. I said, guess what? Everything in life is hard work. The question is, who are you going to work hard for? And when I said to her, if a business is built and all the hard work is done, and we hand you a key to that business, will you take it? She said, yes. What does that tell you? It doesn't mean she doesn't want to own her own business. She doesn't want to be held accountable. She doesn't want to do the work. So when people say, oh, I don't want to own my own business, it's a lie, because they don't want to do the work. But guess what? It's either you pay now or later. If you take some years, as young as you guys have now, to build your own, even if it takes you 10 years to stand, you're going to have a greater impact in life, and you have more financial stability for you and the people around you than if you start today. Okay, so yesterday I was watching Shark Tank. There was this young girl, she had some kind of fashion. She came there with just one piece of clothing, and then, those guys were cracking up. And then they asked her, is she in school? Is she 19 or 20 or something? She said no, that she passed a scholarship to some college because she believed in her, this business. So Mark Cuban said, oh no, I'm out. If you are not disciplined, are you guys getting me? Remember I told you that WETATi is the crossroad where classroom meets practical. So I'm not saying to be an entrepreneur, you need to quit school. No, because you need both. Without that classroom power that I gathered, I won't be able to do as much as I'm doing outside the classroom. Are you guys following me? So they said no to her. She couldn't even explain what she's trying to talk about. So all of them let her go because there is something that happens to you when you're able to hold yourself to a 4 or 3 year college. That shows that you have determination. That shows you have resilience. That shows that you can hold your own. So by her saying that she didn't even take the chance, she couldn't even explain what the heck she's talking about. But they read it to mean that she's not disciplined. That means she doesn't know how to follow through something. So every move you make counts for something. So when I say you must do it afraid, like the bump I was telling you going through struggle, that means that because I've done things so many times, so fear doesn't come to my mind anymore when I have an idea. And my kids will tell you that. So now I'm writing a book now called How to Find the Seed of Opportunity in Any Adversity. I started writing this book maybe about a month ago when I saw a lot of people shaking. What did I do? I spotted an opportunity, a trend that a lot of people are feeling anxious. They think the world is going to fall apart. So now I have something that I want to share. And as much as I have a lot on my table, I don't want to talk myself out of it. It's like I said, I'm already doing a lot. But guess what? People who know how to get things done, they don't have time. People that have time, they don't get anything done. So when I'm trying to give an assignment to people like Favor and a few others, or like Malcolm, I do not give people who have work. And some people say, oh, I know this stay-at-home mom. I said, no, let her be busy taking care of the kid, because people who know the importance of time are those who don't have time, if that makes any sense. So if you do it afraid, mean despite the fear that you have, don't let that stop you. Just go. What is the worst thing that could happen? And I'm here to submit to you that the worst chance you can take is the one you didn't take. I don't know where you've been. I don't know what your life experiences might have been. If you find that you're always saying, oh my God, maybe I missed an opportunity. Maybe I should have done that. Don't let that be your story going forward. If there's anything that comes before you and you know it's not going to cost you nothing but your time or whatever, just go do it. Can I share this with you? No matter what happens, guess what? Even if it didn't pan out the way you thought, you are now a new person. You have grown. You have gained so much more experience. And can I tell you something? Nobody makes the right decision the right time. The very first time. No, not even me. If I tell you how many times I have evolved, you're not gonna believe it. And I'm thriving. I love it. I thrive on challenge, and it's intentional. It's not accidental. You must make sure that you're not saying, oh, I'm afraid. What are you afraid of? You're going to fail? Is that going to be the first time you failed? I don't use words like that. I'm using it because a lot of you relate to the word fear. For me, there are necessary steps you have to go through to get to the other side of life that you're looking for. I use it as a motivator. Fear motivates me. One of the reasons why we quickly flipped the WETATi physical operation to online, I didn't want us to be history. I didn't want us to be one of those, because when all this is done, where are you going to be in the history books? If you watch CNN and others, they're talking about how many companies that are not going to come up and they're not going to survive this. I made up my mind with our group and team that we're not going to be that part of that statistics. And it's intentional and it's decisive, if that makes any sense. We could just sit and say, oh yeah, we're one of those small businesses. We couldn't, heck no, we're going to flip this around. And that's how an entrepreneurial mindset is set, where people say it can be done. Immediately, I'm always thinking about how do you flip this around? And I can guarantee you, the more you're corrective minded, the more you're flipping minded, how you can flip your destiny. That's another book. I got to work on that one. There's nothing that can stop you from turning a negative into positive, as difficult as it could be. Most of the times too, it is in the corridors of fear that motivation and idea would come. As you're afraid, you're saying, oh my God, what am I going to do? I'm really afraid of this. Guess what? An idea will come to you, but most people will dismiss the idea and focus on the fear because it's easy. It is easy to be on the path of nothingness. What do confused people do? Nothing. Because talk is cheap. But defy that odd, and I can guarantee you, as soon as you step out to do it nonetheless, you feel a lot better. You it's like you exhale because you kill the monster. How do you kill a monster? You step on top of it. If you allow it to continue to stay, at some point you have to face it head on with all the fear to free yourself. Even if you get injured, get up, right? There was a story about the American soldiers years ago in Britain or something. I don't remember. It's been a while that I read because I'm always going to looking to see how people advance. And I think I'm just trying to paraphrase what happened. They went in with a smaller number of soldiers, didn't expect what was going to happen. And the British soldiers were coming and Americans were quite prepared. And then the armies looked and they told the commanders like, oh my God, we're going to perish. What are we going to do and stuff? We must retreat. And the guy said to them, when you can't advance, you must advance. In other words, there gets to get a point where you think that there's no other way to go but go back. When you get to the point of no return, when you quicken, even in the Bible, right, in the book of Gideon, for those of you that know what that is about, when it gets to a point in your life, we call it where the rubber meets the road, that there's something that happens or should happen in your spirit that becomes so defiant that nobody can kill you, that just you staring at the person or circumstance, it will dissipate. And as soon as he said that to the soldiers behind him, they now knew that it's up to them to figure out a way to defeat these people using their mindset, not because of what they have in their hands. And the rest is history, and they won that war. Am I helping anybody? Fear must be part of your motivation. What became of that war came as a result of them being afraid, looking at that number. Even in the Bible, those people who wanted to, Gideon wanted to go and fight, and it was a whole lot of army on the other side, and he was his little small. He kept saying, at the end of the day, it's your faith and your belief that's going to carry you through the day. At the end of the day, he won the war. I don't have the time to go into that. With the least number of people. So sometimes, again, majority does not mean right. But it's a lot to be in the majority because the very few actually make the decision that affect the majority. So your motivation, fear should be your motivator, not your deterrent. But the sadness, go to 6, is that most people let fear take over as if that is going to solve anything. Now that you're afraid that you didn't do it, did your life change? No. Who knows what might have happened? Don't live on what I could, I should have. What is stopping you? Go on to 6, Angel. This is very, very crucial. Acquire mentors through service and volunteerism. To be honest with you, in the country where I came from, I left when I was a kid, so I don't know for sure. But when we set up WETATi Nigeria in 2015, I realized there's a lot of volunteerism and service wasn't very common. Everything had a price. Everything, hold this cup for me, had a price. And I began to appreciate America so much more. And the reason why things are really getting better and people coming together, regardless of the conflict, because conflict is part of life, you know, it actually makes it a good conversation. But I began to realize the power of America. And I can guarantee you, if it wasn't for volunteerism, I don't think WETATi would have succeeded. So that's one of the things I love about America. And I'm challenging each and every one of you. Don't just sit on your whatever and just keep thinking that you can do it alone. As a speaker, I was discovered as a speaker. I was NBC at the fitness. There's nothing I haven't done. And I was doing motivational fitness. And this lady heard, who was with WPGC, and she came to me when I came there. She said, oh my God, you'll be great on radio. I volunteered. You'll be great motivational speaker. You'll be great on radio. That's how I started my first radio talk show. I believe that if you want to find yourself and want to find out what you're good at and what you could do as an entrepreneur, just go and volunteer without expectation. Just go and give of yourself and serve. In the process, you can get connected with the right person who could give you a job, if that's what you're looking for. You can discover the reason why you were born. You can discover the path you should follow as an entrepreneur. It could be a nonprofit. It could be a for-profit, right? As a matter of fact, with all the businesses that I founded, that I have, is the one that I did for nonprofit that took me to another level, because I was coming from a humanitarian perspective to help others. And the more you do for other people unconditionally, the universe has a way of conspiring in your favor. How do I know been there and done that? Don't be afraid to give of yourself. It's not going to cost you anything if you think so, if you think about it, but you just never know. There's a distinction between service and volunteerism. I was having that conversation, I think Chichi or one of you. And when they put volunteerism, I said, could you put service? And I think Chichi said, isn't that the same? And I explained to her that they're similar, but there's a little distinction, and I hope I get it right. And I'll go to why mentorship is important. One of the ways to acquire a mentor is to look for somebody who's doing what you like. It could be their mindset. It doesn't have to be the kind of business that they do. And find a way to attach yourself, to give of yourself. It could be 1 hour, a year, whatever. But let me explain to you. And the example I gave, I said there's a small difference. You know how people meet somebody who's in the military, they say, oh, thank you so much for your service. As great as that is, and I thank God for their service as well personally, they're getting paid for it, even though it's a choice they made, right? Whether patriotically or as a way of livelihood or to serve America, which I believe most of them have that, but they're getting paid for it in addition. But when you volunteer, you're giving of yourself with no recompense, nothing comes, except in the process, you will be blessed. Many good things will come to you, right? I hope you guys get the distinction. It's a small distinction, but both involve you giving of yourself. Let me tell you, there was a conversation I had years ago, I don't remember. This is a motivational speaker, and I'm not the originator of the sentence, but we were having a conversation about how a lot of people were saying, oh, can you mentor me, or could you do this and that and stuff. And then this guy said to me, I watch when these students or individual come to me looking for mentorship. He said, I'm looking for the ones who would say, how can I serve you? Here's what I have to serve you. Because when you bring something to serve, it shows that you're not there as just a taker. I said, wow, I never thought about that. And in the process, you desensitize the person, not thinking you just want to, there's nothing wrong with coming straight up and asking for help. We get that, that's fine. But you must show that you have value to add. In the process, value will be added onto you. And you know the thing though, sometimes that value may not come from the person you gave it to. And that's why people get frustrated, because they're looking for that value to be added from the person they gave it to. So my challenge to you is, or my comment is, find a way to, whether by way of service, whether by way of volunteering, you're also serving. But in the process of volunteerism, you may find yourself, you may find your purpose in life, you may find your calling in life, even more of an identity. Because often, just because you're working in a place, like a lot of people now say they hate their job, doesn't mean you love your job. Just because you're doing it doesn't mean, sometimes majority of people will tell you that it's a thing they volunteer to do that clear the path for them to discover where they need to go in life. And we're not asking you to volunteer. If you can, that's fine. If you can, and if your volunteering doesn't have to be with WETATi, you can go wherever else. We're just teaching you the principle that can help you distinguish yourself among your peers. Like 5, 10 years from now, they're gonna say, we went to the same school, how did their life change? But you're on this call, some of them are flipping channels right now. So for the fact that you have the courage to be on this call, you already got it. All you need is a little bit more of addition, value, and you taking responsibility for your life to take it to the next level. Many of them wouldn't come for whatever. This is free, you know, to you because of the classification we have. So you're already showing that you have the mindset of a differentiator. It's a question of time. I know that each and every one of you will turn another level. But find a way to give of yourself without wondering what you're going to get from there. Because the person you gave it to may not be the person to give it back to you. I believe in the law of universe. And I believe in God. You will get it, and I can guarantee you that. And oftentimes, those are the things that are so self-fulfilling. Not even the thing you get paid. Sometimes you find that the thing that gives you the most joy is the thing that you don't get any money from. Go on to the next one now. We're almost through, so we can answer your questions.
Number 7.
Okay, so remain curious. Don't be afraid to take risks, because the worst risk to take is the one you didn't take. Do you know not doing something is taking a risk? You know that? Did you guys know that? A lot of people think taking risks is actually going to do something they're afraid of doing that it may not work out. So if it doesn't work out, so what? The worst risk is the one you're not taking, because if you're not taking risks, how could your life change? The bigger your risk, the more likely that when you fall, it's going to be hard. Well, guess what, Humpty Dumpty, it doesn't matter. You get right back up again. But what if it works? Look at the examples I gave you before from the Zoom. If they tell you that, that's one of the things I tell them, that they need to change something in America or around the world. They should stop showing the end result. They need to show the process so you guys can understand what they went through. Or Walt Disney, the guy went through hell. Or what's the other one? Microsoft. I'm just saying the ones that you guys kind of familiar with. There's so many more. They went through so much, but they didn't give up. They remained curious. If you're not curious and your mind is plain or bland, you got something that's coming. And if you're afraid to take risk is going to take you. And when risk takes you, you're not going to like where it lands you. I am a risk taker. I don't know if it's good or bad, but it's who I am. But I couldn't earn to be before you if I've never taken risks in my life. I have fallen many times, failed so many times, but who I am today is a result of those times that things didn't work out. But I never said to myself, that's the end of my life. I never, even when I'm going through it, as soon as I say, oh my God, that means I'm disappointed about something, I turn it around. My daughters will tell you immediately. I don't know if it's good or bad, but it has worked for me. Because you know, when people get into depression, not from a clinical perspective, because I'm not a psychologist or a clinician for that matter, but I'm telling you what I know because I do a lot of coaching. Most people's problem or depression can be solved if they don't sit in the rut or the disappointment for too long. Because what happens that when you're busy staying, and this is the one that are life-induced or some other, not for somebody who has a clinical condition, then I'm not addressing that. So I'm putting that disclaimer out there. Because I know people say, well, I wish I had done this, and now look at how many times, but guess what? That's what the devil or the situation try to bring to you. And by you allowing yourself to sit for too long, it takes time away from you. You're not able to pick yourself up right back and then and stuff. So for me personally, and I'm not ascribing it to anybody, for me, I don't sit on it for too long. That's why, as soon as this corona thing happened, remember last weekend was when we were supposed to have a convention. Oh, I also have good news for those of you that are supposed to get scholarship. We'll talk about that another time. You guys are still going to get your scholarship monies. But guess what? When we never planned it. We didn't. Immediately we got together as a team. I said, after, oh my God, we knew that a major change had happened. The question is, what side of the fence are we going to be when this is all said and done? We're like, oh my God, we're going to take all the precaution to be safe, but let's work like life is going to continue. Let's begin to get together, pull things together so we can flip this online and continue to do what we do. And that's what we did. I can guarantee you there's some of that businesses that are calling me, how did you do that quickly? I'm still trying to figure out what to do, because they were sitting there for a long time, feeling depressed and stuff. And time doesn't care. Whatever time you lose or you lost, you can't pick it back up. Though it's never too late to start, but all you do, get started and use that as a springboard for the next level. But please stop saying, I don't like risk. Guess what? The second name for life, business is risk. The second name for life is risk. Life in itself, because of this coronavirus, the invisible enemy, most people, you can't see it. At some point, you're going to get up to go get food to eat, right? You're taking a risk, right? Everything. So why is it the one that could help you is the one you're stuck on, thinking you don't want to take a risk, you don't want to lose money? People are like, I don't want to invest, I don't want to lose money. You're already losing money, because if your money is not leveraging, you're not getting anything from it. So taking risk and curiosity is one thing you must be, because curiosity continues to make you not settle. You continue to wonder, could this happen? Maybe if I did this, if I did that, this could happen. And we can talk some more about it. Go on to the next one. No, we're almost done. Now, okay, I hope I'm helping somebody.
Okay, 5:15, so we want to give time for everyone to
right, cool. Remain, never take no for an answer. We don't even need to explain that. You don't want to be your own worst enemy. I never take no for an answer. When I say, to the extent now that when people are telling me no, when I'm asking for something, I'm pushing for something, I'm not hearing no, I'm hearing yes, in the sense that I'm already planning how I'm going to survive that no and change my strategy or flip that narrative so I can get my yes. So even when people are saying no to me, that's not what I'm hearing. And I don't take it personal. One of the things over the years that I had to overcome, I used to take things very personal because I don't understand why you're not seeing what I'm saying. But when you take things personal, you're blocking your own blessing. But whatever the reason the person is doing it, that's on them. You need to go like this and go back to the drawing board so that you can turn that no into a yes. It could be starting something different. It could be adding more value, going to networking where you never went, talk to people you never talk, so that somewhere along the way, and that's what is happening. People are reaching out to us who disregarded us years ago. Why? That's a way of not taking no for an answer. Go on to the next one, Nana. Okay, so stop trying to be perfect before you start. A lot of people want to have a perfect idea before they start. I'm just going to say this and let's take questions so we can get through your questions before. The best thing I can tell you here is what I love Mark Cuban in terms of his business ideation and the way he thinks. I was watching Shark Tank one day, and this guy came up and he was talking about his product, and they said, "How long have you had it?" He said, 6 or 9 years. He said, "Wait a minute. So how come you haven't made any money?" He said, "Because it's not yet perfect." And he said, what did you say?" He said, "Because it's not yet perfect. I've been trying." He said, "Stop, I'm out." Then the other Shark members asked him why. He said, "Because perfection is the enemy of progress." If you didn't get anything else today, get that. Perfection is the enemy of progress and profit. Because what happens is this: you can only perfect your product as you continue to move with it. You can't sit in one place and want to perfect it. The perfection will even come as you go out in the marketplace and the business people and the customers will begin to tell you what is good or what is bad. Then you come back to perfecting. He said, "So how are you going to know it's perfect?" He said, "You're hiding in fear, talking about being perfect." So stop trying to be perfect in anything you want to do. Start as you are and build upon it. Somewhere along the line, the beautiful baby you give birth to will show up with all the wheels and bells and whistles, however you want to put it. So start now, stop making excuses. If you're going to be and you have this entrepreneurial mindset, and I believe each and every one of you have it, through this session, I don't know what could stop you. WETATi is here for you in any way or fashion. Don't complain. Get started, no matter how difficult it may seem.
Thank you. All right. So now we're going to get into the questions that we have. Some people have been dropping questions, and I'm also going to start the first polling for you guys. All right. So you can check it out, and it should be quick. Okay. You should see the poll come up to the corner of your screen and you can fill it out. All right. So first question, let's go on up. We had a lot of people who sent their questions. Someone said, Brian said, "This is amazing." Thanks, Brian. All right. So the first question then, I believe IK wanted to know, how can someone make money without basically having access to capital?
Okay, that's a good question. Oh my God, what did I do here? Lord have mercy. Okay, I think I closed my stuff through the thing.
Okay.
So next week, Lucretia Buster is going to cover the segment next week is how to start a business and make money. I started without belaboring the point, and she deals with it. I started with, because I didn't have money to start, I knew that one of the ways, if you don't have money to start a business, you cannot do business that is capital intensive. It has to be a service business. When it's a service business, you see, it means that something you created that you want to offer to people and they pay you for it. You could also do it by partnering with another established company that may need your idea as an addition to what they're already doing. And we can discuss that some more on the next segment. It's not my session, it's Lucretia, but that's one way for sure. Because if you start a business that is capital intensive, you would have a hard time because you haven't established your credit. Another great thing is that because you guys are students, now majority of you are students, the universities have a lot of tools, have a lot of processes or avenues you could use to actually start your business without paying for it. And whereas once you graduate and leave, it's a different ballgame. That's why I keep pushing you guys, for your own sakes. But those are the easiest ways until we can have that as a different segment and we can dissect them one by one. Those are the 3 things I could share right now.
Okay, awesome. All right, so now we're gonna go into poll number 2. We're gonna send another poll, and then we are going to ask the next question. So Favor said, what are the best ways for an introvert to network?
I didn't hear, what'd you say?
Oh, this question is coming from Favor. She said, what are the best ways for an introvert to network and make real connections with people who can build them? So if you're someone that might not necessarily know how to be like a social butterfly, you might get anxiety talking to people, you have a business or maybe you want to start a business, but you're trying to figure out the best ways to network and make real connections with people while being an introvert.
Right. So the, I don't know if disclosing the, Favor, that's a great question. But here is my point. Nobody really gets up and want to start talking. You have 2 choices to make in life. Do you want to, or do you or the person want to be an introvert and not speak their mind on what is true for them so they can change their lives and the life of others? Or just hide behind the scene and be saying every day? Because when you run a business, it can heal many aspects of your life. You will now find that you deserve a right to speak up for what matters to you. If you choose to remain like behind the scene, people say, well, I'm kind of behind the scene person. What they do, they connect with someone else who can be the front person to project that. So the language is build it and they will come. You start by putting your ideas together. When you get to the point where you need to get into the marketplace, you now begin to look for partners, people who will be good for you, who are good in what you are good at. For me, I'm just a talker. I'm not good with numbers, because that was a time years ago I wasn't going to do it. I was like, oh my God, I'm not good in accounting. And then I had the premonition that I don't have to be good in every aspect of business to do business. All I need to do is find good partnership in the people that are good in what I'm not good in order to have a successful business. That in itself can be challenging, but you don't want to start with the challenge. Start from where you are. The great thing about starting a business is one step at a time. And because you can do it by yourself, and WETATi is here and other places, SBDC and other places we can get support. When you start, the first step, when you get a hookup, whatever it is, or you say, oh, Dr. Dureke, WETATi, whoever, here is where I am. Where do I go from here? That's where we can direct you to where you need to go if we don't have the right answers. Just because one is an introvert is not the reason why you can build. What's his name? Whether Mark Zuckerberg or Bill Gates, they were introverts, right? But look at what they built. So the first thing is to start with the idea and begin to talk to people as much as you can, as much as you're comfortable. You will find that over time, you begin to gain more confidence to be able to share. When you're passionate about your point of what to, even if you're under the bed with cover, they can only see your eyes like that, you're going to speak about what you're passionate about. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Yeah. So don't start the big picture. Start right now. Yeah. Start right now with what you have control over. And as time goes on, everything else will begin to fill in the blank. And you're not going to do it alone. We're here for you.
Oh, okay. It's great that you said that. So someone asked, even after my business is established, what could WETATi do to help me?
What was the question?
Even after my business, so let's say this person has their business is already started, maybe they're making some income, maybe they're not able to make income yet in their business. What type of services does WETATi provide that could help this person with their business if they're a student?
Right, that's a good question, but it's kind of a subjective question, because for me to answer it objectively, I need to know more. Does that make sense? So we could have the conversation. I don't know how this thing happened. I need to get this off here. 1 second. We could have the conversation off of here, or if you can send something, because I have to know what kind of business it is, how far I've come, what it is, the challenge that you're having right now about that business is. Because if I don't, I'll be talking mumbo jumbo because I don't have the facts of the case. So we need to know where you are with that business and what your current challenges are to know if it's something that we can give you some guide or lead on, or something we can direct you to where you need to go. Because the program next week is on how to start business and make money. Make sure you sign up on that. And before then, you can reach out to us, give us some information about that, about your business, so that we can see how else we can further help you. Just because you started something and no business starts right away and start making money. And that's why a lot of people lose hope. They're like, oh, it's not working. No, you got to stay with it. Like if you give birth to a baby, the baby doesn't get up that same day and start running and stuff. You, even when the baby poops on itself, drinking, pouring things out, you say, oh, that's my baby. You clean that. That's how you have to be about your idea and what you come up with until that baby gets up and start running.
But something we actually do have is our competition.
Yeah, that's something that you can talk about maybe at the end or so, but they will also get the email. But what this person is asking for is something I need to know more about the state of that business now, to know what he or she's need is to be able to address it more accurately. But okay. Definitely where there is a will, there's a way. If you encounter a challenge in your business, you cannot be the only one. There's a way to go about resolving it or giving you some assistance.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, awesome. All right, so that has been all of the questions. I'm going to close the final poll now. So I'm going to close that final poll. Thank you all for participating in the poll. And the next thing we're just going to go over basically is just join us. So tell us a little bit more about what's happening next Tuesday, Ambassador. Hello?
Yeah, what you said, I didn't hear you.
Oh, can you hear me? I said, thank you so much. I said, thank you. That was the last question that came in. Okay. And so I said, so tell us.
You kind of froze, Nana.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
I can see. Go ahead. Say it one more time.
Okay. No, I am saying, tell us a little bit about what's happening next Tuesday.
Yes.
As we wrap up.
Okay, yeah, sure. I want to, yes, I'm really very thankful that you guys are here. The reason is this: you could have all the gift in this world to share with people, but if they're not willing to listen, only when things fall apart, just like right now, that in the middle of this COVID, most people only paying attention because they've been directly impacted. But for you guys at your stage, and I don't know what your stories are, you are able to hang in here and listen. I can guarantee you that you all are going to be some great folks in the near future, and I know you already are. But if you take in some of the things we shared here today, and it's going to be shared on our social media, I think it's going to be on YouTube, where you can go listen to it again. If there's any element of it that seemed kind of stood out for you or to you, you can go back to it. I think it's imperative for you to know that entrepreneurship does not have any particular DNA. There are no group of people that own it, that these people should be the one to go get a job, but these people create it. It's a misnomer. And how we got to that place, you all have the power to change it, to create your own opportunity. And I'm telling you that don't let anybody tell you to the contrary, because I know that is possible and you can do it today. So next week, we're going to have to make money. It's not going to be me, Mr. Freeman. It's going to be the one, how to start a business and make money. If you believe that you can do it, and not even to start your own, but to gain an insight, to be a valuable employee, this is all worth it for you. Be able to share it with other people, follow us on social media, share this information so that we can continue to grow together. WETATi is here for you. And that individual who had a question, if they already had a business, if you don't mind, you can email me at Margaret@wetati.com or angel@wetati.com. However, I'm interested in knowing more to see if there's something there we can do for you. If nothing else, give you the lead on what you need to do. Don't give birth and don't nurse that child, and do not nurse that child to growth. That's basically all I have. I had a great time. I hope this was worth it for you guys. Share and tell other people about what WETATi is doing and how that is impacting you. And we say WETATi power.
Power. Awesome. Okay, you guys, thanks so much. We will have a video recap. Check out last week's recap up on YouTube now. Thanks, you guys. Stay in tune, and WETATi power. Bye. Have a great day.